All right. Hi, everyone. So this is our SIG scheduling meeting for May 18th. As you all know, this meeting is recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. So please adhere to Kubernetes Code of Conduct during the meeting. So we have 3 items on the agenda for today. Aldo, you want to speak about the new contributing documentation that we have for SIG scheduling?
Yes. So first of all, thank you to Kant and Kensei that worked on this document. But basically, they have collected a set of guidelines for contributing to this SIG specifically. And of course, this builds on top of the guidelines for the Kubernetes project. But we have a few details here about how we are operating, how we are already operating, or how we have been operating for the past few years. Things like getting a review from a reviewer before involving an approver, and things like squashing the commits when ready to merge, but not before. Like first add new commits when you're in review, things like that. So I encourage everybody that wants to collaborate to contribute to SIG scheduling to read through these documents. We might be adding an extra document, a little bit more focused on common practices during code reviews. So you can expect that in the next few weeks. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say about this. Thank you.
Thanks, Aldo. And we have Hiba, who want to talk about the new project dashboard. I made you a co-host if you want to present.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a co-host already.
Okay. Let me share my screen now. Let me know if you can see the document or the screen. Okay, so about the automating for the SIG scheduling dashboard, I just wanted to, I reach out to the SIG scheduling leads and ask if, is there any way that I can help? So one of them, one of the, few tasks was with there is we have SIG scheduling board, but we don't have any way to automate it. So it's all like manual effort for now. So I went ahead and I, tried to find what other SIGs are doing. And basically the SIG auth, they already have, a solution for how to, get projects automated without having GitHub action in Kubernetes organization, because it's not permitted yet. We had actually this discussion with the GitHub admin group, but because of other security reasons, they don't prefer to have GitHub actions enabled for Kubernetes organization for now. So because of this, SIG auth actually went ahead and they created another or a separate repo in Kubernetes SIGs, and just write a Go program to do the exact same thing that GitHub action can do, which get the projects, list all the issues by specific label, and just update the dashboard. So basically I did the same. I just forked this repo, and instead of just having this GitHub workflow working for specific SIG auth, I had it working for the SIG scheduling. And I already, like tested it, and it's working, as you can see here. So once, like this GitHub action can be run every couple of hours. Once it's run, everything related to SIG scheduling with label SIG scheduling would be in need triage. And we will just need to go ahead and, find whatever we want to add it to our backlog. And of course, I'm trying to add more automation on, if there is, triage accepted, we should move it to in progress or something like that, but it's still not done yet. But at least we have, this dashboard automated somehow. I'm working with the Kubernetes org now to either add this repo as a new repo so we can maintain it as a SIG scheduling, or I had another proposal, which thank you, Aldo, for that. So it was like if we can cooperate with the SIG auth and have just one repo and a couple of other GitHub actions on top, under the tooling repo. Instead of just having another repo to maintain, we will have one across all 6. But we still have this discussion open. We didn't have this yet finalized. But again, I went ahead, created some views just to help people here. So the enhancement will have just a specific view, so you can go ahead and triage it. Once it's triaged, it will have like another section just to be more focused on the enhancement for this specific milestone. And this is like the milestone issue so far. And this is the issue, this is the PR's views. So it's just, to help us know, what we need to, to get done, and for new contributors to just, pick anything from the backlog and work on it if they want. Yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Thank you so much. This is really great. So this is now like released. Like, is it functioning, or this is a prototype?
So it's functioning from my fork, but I wanted to make it available for the SIG scheduling leads, so they can run this GitHub action whenever they want. But again, it's this is like my fork right now, because we don't have like final home yet for this. But again, this is a cron job. Will run every day on 6 a.m. PST, and this this dashboard will get updated. For now, yes, this is working, but from my fork.
Thanks.
I think Hiber is trying to propose that he should move his own fork to a sub-project, just like SIG auth did, before we reach an agreement to have a unified repo to manage all the things, to have a general or different GitHub action, but in the same repo.
Yep.
So before we reach to that, maybe we can have a sub-project to manage SIG scheduling specifically. I think that's Hiber's proposal.
Yeah. But for now, it is working, but from my fork. What I'm trying to get it done now is moving this fork to be either a repo, a separate repo for SIG scheduling, or just another GitHub action on a unified repo for all SIGs. They wanted to do the same.
Right. So basically, like the dashboard is getting updated as long as you maintain your repo.
Exactly.
Sounds good. Any other questions?
Has anybody from SIG auth said anything about this?
Not yet, but I can reach out to Anish, who is like the main contributor to SIG auth. I know him, so I can reach out to him and see like how can we cooperate and just, like rename this repo and add our GitHub action here, and we will be done. But I'm waiting for people to just, contribute to this issue if they have any other opinion.
Or Hiba, do you think that it is possible to just add one GitHub action YAML to their repo so we can just contribute there?
Yeah, this is what I just mentioned. So this is my proposal. Yeah.
So that we don't need to sort of duplicated repo just working for SIG scheduling. We can just have another. Yeah, I think GitHub action has this separate action workflow YAML. Yeah.
This is what I have already. This is what I proposed. So instead of having another repo to to take care of. But again, I'm just I will wait for today at least, and then I will reach out to Anish and ask if they are okay with renaming the repo so we can contribute back our GitHub action directly instead of having just a separate repo.
Yeah, I think that can reduce any diverge developing efforts. Yeah, just have one unified.
Yeah, and I believe other SIGs they might benefit from this as well, because they might need to have the same automation as well. Yeah,
you might also want to reach out to contributor experience, because this is kind of if all SIGs are supposed to be using the same repo, then SIG contributor experience should have the ownership of the repo rather than SIG auth.
You're right. I will mention them and I will reach out to them as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll stop sharing.
I appreciate that.
One last thing, can we put a link to that dashboard on in our document, in our community page? I think that would be useful.
Sure, I will add it right away.
Thank you. It's where's the chat? So this is the page, I guess. Maybe we can add it here.
Yeah, working on it right now. Oh, you wanted me to add it to the GitHub? Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, I think, useful. I don't know, or maybe the contribute. I think both pages would work.
Yeah, I will add it to the agenda, the SIG scheduling agenda on top of this the intro paragraph, and I will work on adding it to the GitHub page as well.
It has to be the contributing file because the README is auto-generated.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Aldo, you want to bring up the requeue extension point?
Yes, mostly as FYI for anybody interested.
Was the original proposal updated to include the new
one second. Okay, so no, actually the document was not updated. So everything is in code at the moment. But so just to give a gist to everybody, basically in scheduler, whenever a pod is scheduled and it fails, it enters this intermediate state, which we call unschedulable. And then certain events in the cluster can bring that pod back into the scheduling queue to be retried. So for example, if if the pod failed because of pod anti-affinity, then, for example, a pod deletion could help the pod schedule. So that's one kind of event that could make the pod schedulable again. So, and then we have a few hard-coded checks that filter these kind of events to decide whether a pod should go back into the scheduling queue. So, and this proposal is doing two things. One is optimizing or adding more control over these checks through a requeue extension point. So in this extension point, let me just show a little bit of the code. Where are you? So here is the extension point. It accepts the pod that is being considered for retry. It accepts an event, which describes what happened. For example, a pod changed, a pod was created, or a config map. There are a few static events that could happen. And then we have the old object of the event and the new object. So if it's a pod update, this old object would be a pod. This new object would be the new version of the pod. And with that, the plugin can decide whether this event could potentially make the pod schedulable. So going back to affinity, if there was a pod affinity failure, whenever there is a new pod that satisfies this affinity, then the original pod will be requeued. So that's the gist of the solution. And so this can be applied for existing plugins. We have many plugins that would benefit from this, and the effect is that less requeuing means less retries, so better throughput and better latency for every pod. So that's one effect. And the other effect is that, well, now any custom scheduling plugin or out of tree scheduling plugin can implement these mechanics on their own. So that's the idea. Now, the contention here is that there are two proposals that kind of do the same. One is this requeue extension proposed by Kensei, and the other proposal is by
Patrick.
Yes, which is actually split currently in two PRs. I only had the chance to review the first one, but these two PRs, which here they are called filter callbacks, and I didn't have a chance to review this one yet. But at this point in time, they are very similar. So yeah, just wanted to bring it up to the attention of anybody interested in the topic to review and comment. I don't know if Wei or Abdullah, you had any chance to look at them.
Yeah, so yeah, basically there's two proposal here. So by last time I tried to do a TLDR, and I think by my understanding, by that time was like 1.5 weeks ago. So I posted that in our SIG scheduling Slack channel. So if you haven't looked into two solutions, that TLDR may give you a very high level feeling on how these two solutions differs at. But after that, can say made some evolution changes to the, especially to extract the original proposal, that is to mixing the pre-in-queue extension point to another re-queue, which I think the semantics is more clear. So yeah, so I need also to catch up with his latest design, the re-queue, and to so basically there's some nuances here in two different solutions. So yeah, I will try to squeeze some time this week to catch up with this. So did there any like benchmark results or any strong opinions from either Patrick or can say the comparison of these two solutions?
I think Patrick is okay with the requeue proposal. I'm not sure if there was a chance to run benchmarks.
Okay.
Personally, I had a better time reading through the requeue implementation. So based on that subjective feeling, I'm inclined to accept the requeue proposal rather than the other.
Yeah, I will follow up with this because the original one is like mixing some other semantics to pre-in-queue, which I don't pretty like. But right now, just extracting into a new extension point looks better, but I need to look into the implementation details, especially when the requeue plugin was invoked. That is the primary details I need to look into.
Another thing I wanted to discuss or highlight is the fact that this proposal is exposing the requeue as an extension point, which is visible in the Kubernetes, the kubescaler config configuration. And I don't think that's necessary. I think this could be a hidden extension point or like an implementation detail of other plugins.
Can it be merged with the, what's that? The pre-in-queue extension or something that there's an interface, it's an implicit contract we have?
I don't think it would work like that because requeue can be triggered by filter or it could be triggered by permit.
Okay.
Or it could be pre-filtered. So it's actually kind of global. So in a way, it's a separate extension point, but at the same time, it's like it's not independent, right? You wouldn't have a you wouldn't have a plugin that only implements requeue.
Okay.
Right? You would always
I
have
think
it.
that's the same case. That's the same case for in-queue extension, because I think in the original design document of the in-queue extension, I mentioned that it should be only implemented by some plugin that has the power or ability to claim a pod as unschedulable. So that means a pre-filter can implement that, a filter can implement that, but score no, because you don't impact the schedulable results. So I think it's forced into the same category. But anyway, I will check the details of the latest design of the requeue. Yeah, because if we want to extract into a new extension point, that has a lot of efforts like API, etc., etc.
So I looked at the original proposal and I had the same pushback. Like it really confuses things, like with the pre-in-queue semantics, especially with the return types.
Yes.
I didn't like at all. It was quite confusing. I like the new direction, having a requeue. I do agree that ideally we don't want this to be a new plugin. I mean, a new extension point, explicit extension point. And I do see it as like an extension to filter. Like it should be fine because that's where we would decide whether it makes sense to re-enqueue or not. Like that, yeah, it's schedulability of the pod. I wonder because like we would be implementing this for all filters, right? Anyways, or
Yes.
Yeah, I
mean,
think so.
for most.
Yeah, that's the same case for enqueue extension, which almost all the plugins, filter plugins, implement the events to register. So maybe we can use this chance to combine them together. So one contract, at least for one interface, maybe have different functions, but in one interface will be much desirable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that there is
Yeah.
like subtle differences between this and the event handling that we have right now. This is my only concern. My other concern here. Um, I had hoped that we would be able to merge them somehow.
Mhm.
But yeah, because they in some sense try to solve the same problem, right?
Yes.
Sorry, merge which two things?
We have already a way to try to avoid requeuing,
Uh-huh.
right?
The pre-checks.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I agree. They should be put back somewhere in the PR. There is a to do that to move all the pre-checks
Not
into
just the pre-check,
requeue.
like what Wade did, right? Like the whole event handling thing, right?
The the filtering, the event filtering.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
They're not exactly the same, but they are trying to solve the same problem in different parts of the problem, but at the higher level, the problem is the same. Trying to avoid unnecessary scheduling uh,
Yes.
cycles. But yeah, um, is this being proposed for this cycle or?
Ideally, yes. Um, at least some form of it, some reduced scope. And that's another reason why we might not want an API, so that we can iterate more internally. And if later we see the need for an API, we can expose it. But we can start without an API.
Yes, plus one. Especially that they are fairly like pre-enqueue and requeue are also going to be confusing.
Yeah.
When for cluster admins.
Yeah. The requeue semantics is too specific to the people who really cares about the scheduling efficiency, especially. But for the admins, no, they don't should care too much about this actually.
Abdullah, sorry, is this what you were referring to? The events to register?
Yeah, I mean, as a mechanism in general.
Yeah. Yeah, it's being put here. Yeah, my comment here was that it should probably be part of a framework instead of being re-implemented here. But yeah, I guess what I'm hearing is that we are leaning towards accepting these proposals, or like one of these two, but needs reviews.
All right.
I think that's it from my side. I don't have any other questions.
All right. Thank you so much. Any other questions from the community? Last comments?
I have one minor issue. If others don't have questions, I can grab an issue to bring your attention.
Okay.
So yeah, I will just wait for if others have questions.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay. Let me share my screen. So one is that when I look into the plugin called Volume Zone, Saskia, I came into this lines that so basically this plugin is trying to filter out if a path associated PVC has been bound to a PV, and that PV carries some topology labels like Kubernetes.io /hostname/zone, etc. So if that PV carries those labels, we will check in the filter whether the node also have those required labels and whether their values match. So that is the intention of this plugin. But when I look at this line, this means this will check whether the node has any topology label, like the topology or domain.kubernetes.io etc. So in some cases, if a node is not properly labeled, that means the filter will return success. I'm wondering if this is a place we should improve, because when the filter is hit, that means the prerequisite is that the pod is really requesting a PVC and the PVC has a bound PV. Otherwise, it won't return earlier here or the state here. So that means if the logic reach here, that means that the pod really has a PV associated, and we do need to check the topology labels presence. So I'm not sure if we should disregard this, so that if a node is not carrying the required PV's topology labels, we return the pod cannot be scheduled to this node, because in our internal production environment, some nodes for somehow are not labeled properly, and then that node was also considered as a scheduling candidate, and somehow that node wins out in the scoring phase. That then in runtime, well, that pod cannot be running. So that's the whole background. I'm tagging Michelle and Yechen, and so I'll check to see whether they are seeing this is an issue, just for your information.
Okay, I guess we
But
can
it's
comment directly. I mean,
it's a, sorry?
I was just saying that we can comment on the issue.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for me. I don't have any other questions or comments.
So it's not a bug, right? Like it's more efficiency.
Depending how we look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like more fault tolerant to admin's configuration or no. That will be treated as an enhancement, I would say.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you all, and see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.